So, um, Swalwell. What a funny name, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
When I've heard the name, I was like, is this what's wrong? Like, what's going on with his
he
name?
is he,
It's
he is an
crazy.
absolute yeah, like he was kind of a big shock because and that's why there was so much consternation about so
Yeah.
much anxiety about him because he was on the January 6th committee.
Yeah. And he was so like anti-Trump from what I've heard, and people love that.
He was supposedly really progressive. Like, he's a California Democrat. He was in a safe
Yeah.
district,
Yeah.
which is one of the reasons you can replace a guy like that, like from a
Yeah. Yeah.
but the thing that was really, I think, upsetting and hasn't really fully been addressed yet
Mm.
is this was an open secret about this guy
Yeah.
for a long time, and it's the same issue we're going through with the Epstein files,
Exactly. Yeah. I
where
haven't
some
seen anyone draw up that like link or pattern because I mean obviously Epstein is like the worst guy alive and right and if you're
right.
drawing that comparison to a progressive like ally like a Democrat it's just like you're going into the wrong territory over there but it's like the same pattern it's the same kind of behavior just from a different kind of man.
It's the cover up that bothers me because there's questions that you can't answer. Like,
Mm.
so would this election turn out the way it did if we knew about Trump and the Epstein connection before 2024, if that had been released?
Yeah.
Um,
But
because they
like
did everything they could to protect him, right? Like they pushed back. I mean, they got the
mm,
Supreme Court, they pushed back all these trials, they pushed back releasing all this evidence. And and it's the same thing with Swalwell. It's like
mm,
he's supposedly, you know, this guy that like, okay,
yeah,
you know, this is an open secret. It's like,
yeah,
and now everyone's, the people that were defending him, there's not too many now, but it was,
yeah,
well, the timing and, we can't, unless Gonzales goes, we can't get rid of him. And it's like,
mm,
okay, but, or now it's the California governor's race. And my point to all that is, yeah, but if we'd known about this earlier, we wouldn't be in this problem,
mm. Yeah, I mean
and
the I've heard like that argument. Like I've been thinking about how Trump like he had like hundreds of accusations before he even thought of like going for presidency. So it's like even without the Epstein and the Trump connection, still should have been enough to like, you know what, maybe I don't want like a serial rapist, a serial person who has had multiple like numerous allegations to be running for office. But even before that, like we just have to understand that despite the drawing of the link between Epstein and Trump, it still should have been enough for us to say, okay, he violated women, multiple, and not talking like five or 10. We're talking about like hundreds. And, you know, the quote that had got released was it was like grab him by the
yeah, I mean,
gamma.
that was in the
Yeah.
2016 campaign. And the thing is, I mean, it's like, so, I just saw Lev Parnas jump in the chat, and I love the work Lev and his son are
Yeah, I
doing.
love him too. He's
Yeah.
amazing. I love
Well, and that's the thing is you've got guys like Zev, you've got Lev Parnas, you've got his son, and
Mhm.
it's there's been a lot of people warning about these kind of folks for a very
Exactly.
long time,
Exactly. Exactly.
and you look at that and it's like, okay, but then you come to find out it's like, well, yeah, then all these other people knew, and then finally it's outed by, say, people like Lev or Franz. Franz was the one
Yeah, I
who,
love her. Yeah. She
yeah,
was
she
talking
outed
she
Swalwell.
had this she knew this since November. She went to interview him and then people were DMing her. She's saying like, "Oh, he's not a good guy by the way. Like he has a reputation."
Right.
Like in Washington on the Hill, everyone knows or they know a person or they know a person that knows a person that got harassed by this guy. And it was like he had like that personality like he's a womanizer. And first of all, obviously, that's been the fact that people don't point it out. Like, it's just kind of like, oh, that's just how he is. That's already a problem. That's already systemic. Like, that's already something that needs to be investigated because why is that kind of harassment so normalized for a person who's supposed to be leading like a country? I mean, sorry, California, right? Like, someone
No,
who's
yeah.
considering
Well,
running for
yeah.
it.
Well, that's the other thing too is like, I mean, so a couple things.
Mm,
So if Froz, who's like, she's outside the like, I mean, she's a Substacker, right? You know, she
Yeah.
interviews them and it's like she's on social media.
Yeah.
And she's kind of outside the Beltway insider sort
Mm.
of reporting class and everything else. And it gets to her, and there are people DMing her and telling her this. You know that the people on the Hill that work in this every day and report on this every
Every
day,
day.
they knew and they didn't say anything
Yeah,
because
because
we like to think
yeah.
these reporters, oh well, they're the fourth estate, they're gonna report. And it's like, no, oftentimes they don't now because they're afraid of losing their access. They're afraid of
Yeah,
because
they're
then they're
also afraid of their reputation. They're
right.
gonna be like, "Oh, that woman, oh, she talked too much," and all of that stuff, like, we've gotten like it's always been normal for them not to speak out against it because obviously he's powerful, he's successful, he's ambitious, he's in politics, he's in the game, and to call against him is bringing attention to yourself instead of bringing attention to him, which is needed. So that thing is like a society, it's like a cultural thing. It's a thing that's, I mean, not just in politics, it's everywhere. If you out a rapist or if you out someone who has been harassing you, it's like, oh, you want his attention or something like that. So that's not only in politics, it's everywhere.
Powerful men protect other powerful men.
Exactly.
And we've and so it's like and again, you know, you mistakenly said, oh well, it's a state, not a country. Actually, California, I mean, is the fourth largest economy in the world, you know, and so
Yeah,
it
and you
has a
want
G
him running, you want
right.
him running. Like,
It has a GDP larger than most countries,
yeah.
you know, and it's one of it is arguably one of our most prosperous states, maybe like
Mm,
may more than New York. Like it probably is the most prosperous state we have. So you basically you elect a California governor, it's like you're electing another president, essentially.
exactly.
And you want to
And
give
then
this guy
what if he
power.
runs for president? What if he wants to run for president afterwards? The pipeline, like, I know it's
Yeah,
like
there's a lot of California governors that have been president. Like, and
yeah.
you know, I mean, well, maybe at least Ronald Reagan's probably the most famous one in my lifetime.
Mm,
But that's the
yeah.
thing is like you've got a guy like this, and you've swept it under the rug, or you've ignored it. Now he's the governor of California. Now he's open to bribe, like he's open to extortion.
Mm.
Oh, I'm going to
And
expose this if you don't
he
give me this contract or you don't give me this.
mm,
You know, I'm going to expose you, right?
yeah. So
You
is
know,
he I've heard that he has withdrawn from the run for governor. Is that right?
yeah, he has withdrawn. He first withdrew from the campaign
Mm.
for governor. I think it was Sunday, and then he yesterday, which I think they probably worked out a deal in Congress. It was him first. He says he's going to resign, and then Tony Gonzales, who's much worse than him. If
I
that's
actually haven't heard that much about him. I've heard only about Swalwell. Is
so
Gonzales a
he's
Republican?
yeah, so good. So
Oh,
we the Republicans obviously don't really hold their folks accountable. Like
no.
not that the Democrats are much better, but
Yeah.
a little bit. But with Gonzalez, it was a woman he apparently he had a like I think it was a same kind of thing. It was rape. It was horror, and she ended up killing herself by like immolation. She burned herself.
She
Yeah,
burned herself?
yeah. It was she
Oh.
essentially committed suicide. Like it's a horrific story. Like we had one when I was organizing. He was from East Tennessee. His name's Scott DeJernans or something like that. And he was a psychiatrist in Middle Tennessee. He had an affair with one of his patients, you know, got her pregnant, and then basically forced her to obtain an abortion because he was pro life.
You're joking.
No, no, you go look it up. Like that's yeah. No, that's
And it just makes you wonder, like, it's not like just one individual case, it's like across the party. So it's obviously rooted in the system. The political system enables that kind of degradation, that kind of, abusive woman, and for that to not be out in the open. And when it is out in the open, what you hear are folks saying, what a suspicious timing. Oh, this has to be a Republican stunt. Like, Are you joking? These are five women. What do they have to lose? Like they have everything to lose to go out against this very powerful, very ambitious, successful guy and tell him what they have done. And they all say like, "Oh, this is a very suspicious timing. Now he's running for governor." But it's exactly the right time because you don't want to elect a governor who has a reputation of being a serial rapist and sending Snapchats to, I don't know, his interns. So it is the exact right time. Like, wait, is he 45 or something? Like,
Yeah.
that's
Like
embarrassing.
it's the thing, man, is like I just it's and this is the like the thing about it is and with American culture in
Mm,
general, and our
yeah,
patriarchy, right?
yeah.
Is women you're taught from a very young age, and I went through this and had to deprogram it, right? Is like
Mm,
the exploitation of women from a male perspective, right? Is
yeah,
they are thing there are things to be acquired
mm,
and they give you a status, right?
yeah, yeah.
So like, you want to be with like, oh, look how hot my girlfriend is, or look how smoking my wife is, or like, I've slept with this many women, so look at my virility, like, oh yeah, it's like, and or oh, that chick's hot. Watch me go freaking get her number and watch me go like,
It's
and
like a
so
game. It's
yeah, it
like they're
becomes
trying to
like,
impress other men. Like, oh, look at what I can do, and what
of
can you do?
course,
Yup.
100%. Like,
Yeah.
and so the thing about it is like you find out one, you're objectifying women in the sense of they're not people to you. They're a means to satisfy either your ego or your lust or increase your status
Yeah.
or whatever. Like they're not an end in and of themselves. Like you don't say, "Hey, like this woman, she's amazing. I love her. I want to have a relationship with her. I want to, you know, um, build something with her."
Mm.
That's almost like, and so this with the Andrew Tates and the Elon Musk and everything, and
Oh my God,
this,
Andrew Tate on Substack. Ugh, don't even
yeah.
remind me.
Well,
I
and it pushes these men to where it's like the thing about besides the exploitation and oppression for women, it gives you a very narrow worldview, a very narrow thing that's going to make you miserable and
yeah.
make those like because again, what are women like? Everything that you have with a woman is transactional. The only reason a woman would want to be with
Yeah,
you is because of
exactly.
money or status or
Yeah.
whatever. It's not because of your values. It's not because
Mm.
of you know,
It they
it
they do women have a value in, like, the case of they give value to the man. Like, you like, basically, essentially use a woman to prove your masculinity or your manhood.
yep.
So, yes, women do have a value, but it's a very, like, degraded sense of value. It's like a value you would have if you won a prize or something. That's the kind of value we're talking about.
Well, it's like take for example, sort of like the toxicity around gym culture and
Mm.
bodybuilding culture now with
Exactly.
like tren and peptides and all this other stuff they got now, right?
Mm.
And it's like you get these guys like, oh man, it's you're gonna get buff and you're gonna get all these chicks because a lot of guys will start doing it
That's the
because
manosphere talking. That's the
right,
incels
yeah, it's like
talking.
yeah, they're gonna and you'll get all these women and you'll get jacked and but then you won't want them. It's like the hard reality is, man, is like, nah, most women don't care about that. Most women care about
They care
like
about
time.
emotional intelligence, the
Yeah, what's
maturity
your
to
emotional
have
intelligence?
conversations, to have relationships properly, to speak about your own feelings. Like that's the
Right.
main thing that we're looking for, and it's getting harder and harder to find. But I want to circle back into the whole like rape situation, the allegations, because
Okay.
so Swalwell, they obviously he's denying all of the allegations, but like a lot of them, like what I'm hearing is that they like people want proof. Like they really want to say, oh, okay, it hasn't been proven yet, so we shouldn't believe them. You need, like this is insane. Like if you go out and make an accusation, you need to believe the woman first. Like it's like the baseline. You need to because I feel like the patriarchy depends on privatizing violence because Mrs. Fraz talked about it too. She said that a lot of these women thought they were alone. They thought they were the only person who was experienced well while acting like this towards them. So when she started speaking up about it, everyone like they started to form like a group chat or something like that, and they started to realize, hey, I'm not the only one who has been groped or been sent pictures from Swalwell. So, how do you think, like institutions like Congress or political parties, how do they help men keep violence private until it becomes a political liability?
Because a lot of this stuff it's like it's inconvenient for the institution. I'll give you an example. So I worked in aviation, right, as a manager.
Mm,
And a lot of stuff I had to do is I had investigations of all kinds, not just for corporate conduct or like say time card fraud or safety infractions. It was also like assaults and sexual harassment. I had a
mm,
handful of sexual harassment cases that I presided over.
mm,
And there was one in particular that so at these bigger airports, you had guys used to refer to the they call them terminal honeys, right? Because you have different
okay.
terminals that you work in. And so like and typically like most people like because when you're that large of an operation, you like I work domestic or I work international and I work here, right? And so they typically bid and they don't go to like another they don't like I'm going to work international now. Like you might have that, but they would work over here and they do that for years because that's where all your work friends are. That's what you know. That's what's comfortable.
Right,
You know who to swap with. Yada yada.
right.
So one of these guys, he had different women in different terminals, upstairs and downstairs. Gate agents and down. What notorious for, and this is prevalent, right?
Mm, mm,
And one woman found out about another one, and she got upset. So she followed the guy and was arguing with him and she followed him. She's upstairs. She followed him out to the ramp downstairs, outside.
mm, mm,
And this is on camera, right?
mm.
You don't have sound, but you have the camera, and they're arguing. He turns around. She grabs him on the shoulder to spin him around to basically say, "Hey, you're not going anywhere. Keep talking to me." He turns around, decks her in the face, knocks her out. She falls back onto the pavement, hits back of her head, out cold, right?
Oh my God.
She's freaking out, right? Like, or he's freaking out, blah, 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 blah. So I get put on this investigation, right?
Oh, right.
So it's pretty much cut and dry, right? You get statements, you got to go through but it's cut and
There's
dry.
the video footage as well, right?
Right. So now I make a recommendation on what should happen, but I'm not the final say. Like it has to go up
Right,
the chain.
right, right.
So I make the recommendation of termination and then forwarding the video along to the proper authorities for potential assault and because of the severity,
Right.
right?
Mm.
What do you think happened?
She got fired and he stayed on the job.
Close,
Oh my God.
close. She was written up and put on a final notice because she was out of her work area instigating an altercation.
And the guy,
You got a verbal coaching
a verbal coaching?
because he was told to say I felt threatened and I reacted.
He said that.
Hmm? And
He
because
felt
it's on
threatened
video that
and
she's grabbing him, like she and it's like, well,
yeah, okay, I'm sorry. The next time you grab my shoulder, I'll just like punch you in the face. So
but
let's just
but see
reflex.
now,
Sorry.
but here's the reason for that, right? And this is what I got, and this is to answer your question. And this is what I got told later, why this
Yeah.
where it went to where it went.
Yeah.
I'm not there to dispense justice. I'm not there to dispense morality. I'm there to protect the company from corporate liability. That's it. From legal liability. I'm there to protect the company from legal liability. What do you think happens if he's fired for assault and brought up on charges? Then that
Press,
leaves
media.
she
Yeah.
press, media, she's open to file a civil suit, you know, and that's what they care about, right?
It's the image. It's the
Right.
optics, how they look like to everyone else. So
Well, Frederick,
it
we
doesn't
have a
matter.
we have a duty to protect the company. It's a tragic situation and they'll nicen it
So
up.
you don't wait. So you don't like. If you're
They'll
protecting the company, you don't protect the employers, the ones who is working for you. You're not protecting them. How does that work?
Well, it was, who are we to get into a lover's spat? I mean, obviously it went too far and it's tragic and it shouldn't have happened. But to be honest, it wouldn't have happened if she'd never walked into her, if she'd been out of her work area. And that's how they move the goalposts. That's how it gets moved on women, right? That's
Exactly.
how it happens. You go in for, say, woman gets sexually assaulted. They get, there's rape involved.
Oh,
They
and then
go,
they ask,
they
"What
go
was
in
she
for, they
wearing?
go in for the
What time
kit.
of the night was it? What time
Yeah.
of the night
Were
was it?
you
What was she
were
wearing?
you drinking? Right?
Were you provoking him?"
Right. When did you say no? Did she or those like it do you have a grudge against him? Are those wounds self-inflicted?
No, it's such a stupid argument because how in any way is my actions like I don't control your muscles. I don't control your actions. You react to them. So the whole
Mhm.
argument is just logically incorrect. And it's been so fed into it's been like deep into the society where you go out at night or you're wearing something revealing and your mom is like, okay, okay, so don't wear that. I mean, you're gonna provoke a man.
Mhm.
This is insane.
No, but again, I guarantee you there were conversations in the Democratic Party of people who knew it's like, well, Eric's a reliable vote on this. He brings in the
Mhm.
donor money, and it's just like,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, just these women should know better. It's like it's up to them to make that choice. It's like,
I feel like Democrats, because they're so much better than Republicans, right? There's like the opposing party, like they would never do the same things that Republicans do. So when we get news like that, people are so shocked and they don't want to even like accept the truth. They can't even swallow it because it's like this is our progressive like ally, like this is our liberal friends. Like this cannot happen with the Democrats. Like the whole image is based on being exactly opposite to what the Republicans are. So can you speak a little bit about how do you think it worked out in the Democratic Party? Did they like was it his choice to resign or did the
oh
Democratic
no,
Party like
no,
push him?
no. What I if I had to, I don't know for sure. I don't have inside knowledge on
No,
like
I
what went
know.
down. But
Yeah.
if I had to put a guess on it, it's like absolutely not. What I mean, basically, what happened is I think is there's so much heat from the Epstein files,
Mm,
and the Democrats actually, like the supporters at least of that party, do care about these things
mm,
to a point. Um, not they won't completely wash it away of you know where if it's non-consensual, right? Now
right, right.
they'll they'll do they'll do backflips for it and they'll twist themselves into pretzels like with Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was a notorious womanizer.
Yeah.
I mean, he had all and again, like, I mean, it was you want to talk about an open secret, go talk to anybody that was in Arkansas politics,
Mm,
that's honest about what Bill Clinton was. I mean, the guy probably had a addiction fetish and God knows what else. And, and he but again, people bypassed it because they said, "Oh, but he's so charming. He's so I mean, they called him Slick
it's the
Willie.
optics, yeah.
Yeah.
Slick Will oh
Well,
my god.
yeah, no, that was the nickname the right gave him was like, "Oh, it's Slick Willie." It's like and, he's like, "Oh, he's so charming. He's
Mhm.
just so eloquent and blah, blah, blah." And it's like and a lot of women found him attractive. So it's like, you look at someone like Monica Lewinsky, it's like, well, of course, and or
She
they
obviously
focus
seduced him. She obviously
well, not
asked
even
for
that.
it.
They conveniently focus on the right's motives. Well, they say, well, the right wants to get him because of, unfair motivation, like unfair motives or horrible things because they're horrible. We have to oppose them. But that's not the question. That's not where you should be. You should go, you never should have put yourself in that position
Exactly.
by doing this with a 23-year-old intern. You are supposed to be better than that, Mr. President. You are supposed to actually have some self-control.
Mm.
You are not supposed to do that to and take advantage of a woman that
The
is
power
working for you.
imbalance, like, we're
Right.
talking about, like, a fresh intern, like, she's 23, and he is the leader of the free world, like, this is crazy. Like,
Right.
you're way above her pay grade, like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's I mean, it's there's that power imbalance, and you
Mm,
basically you've ruined that woman's life, and so that again, you get into this environment where there's all these open secrets and you're not supposed to be the one to tell because you might lose your access, you might lose your job,
mm.
so it's like, you're going to work and you're like, well, I just gotta, it's like, hey, because again, they probably have these routines
Yeah.
where you're like, hey
But
girl,
even though,
I gotta go
yeah,
talk to Eric. Can you come along with me so he doesn't corner me in his office? Like, okay.
mm. But
And
I
that's
feel
the
like even
problem.
though, yeah, that is the problem. But the Democrats are against Epstein files. Like, if, I don't know if you've been on TikTok, if you've seen the Democratic Party's TikTok page, they make insane, absurd edits of like Donald Trump and Epstein. But I feel like there is the pattern. Like, he resigned, right? He's obviously protecting the institution. He's not
Mhm.
admitting the allegations are true,
No,
but it's the same pattern. All the people who were named, all the powerful politicians and the powerful men named in the Epstein files, they all resigned. There was no justice. They all resigned. They just denied, resigned quietly. And it's the same pattern happening in the Democrats party. But I think it's not a question of what political party are you from. It's a question of that you're a man and you think this is okay. You've been
you
brought
want
up thinking that this is completely okay.
you want me to bring up a more horrible question to sit and consider right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
The pattern you just described absolutely happens, and that's probably what's happening with Eric is like,
Right.
hey brother, you step aside, we'll try to make this accusation go away, or you beat it or whatever. You still got some use to the party as a bundler with your connections, this and that. Now, Trump was probably offered the same deal in 2020, right?
Mm.
That's why they slow
Yeah,
rolled all this. Okay,
right.
they slow rolled the investigation, they slow rolled this. Had Trump gone quietly into that good night and just went down to Mar-a-Lago and just let all this stuff play out, or just kind of maybe took a deal behind the scenes, do you think the Epstein files would be seeing the light of day right now?
Nope. Yep, maybe. I don't know. Mm.
I mean, maybe if the survivors and eventually finally something breaks loose and something comes out, but
Yeah. But the Epstein
because
files have been sitting like passed down administrations. Like
right, yeah, because
it's
and so,
been yeah.
but now because I think I think because he's so unhinged and so horrible and so crazy, and what has happened is because the left suddenly took hold of it and said, "Wait a minute, maybe there is something here," and now it's suddenly starting to come to the light of day. Because again, there's powerful men on both sides of the aisle that are
Yeah,
in
but
those
there's Bill
spots.
Clinton in there as well. Yeah. He's been mentioned a lot of times.
How could Bill Clinton be in there? Have you looked at his track record? And again, if this had been dealt with then, what might have changed? If somebody had been believed then,
Yeah.
how many
And
women would have been saved?
exactly, and it's systemic. Like, if you guys believed Epstein's victims from day one, there has been thousands of testimonials. There's been thousands of reportings, and if you believed then it wouldn't be so shocking. Like, we need like 3 million documents for us to know, for us to finally realize, hey, this is horrible. We're being run by people who rape women and children and kill them, and we knew nothing about it, but women have been telling you guys since forever, and you guys have never listened to it. I think one of the most famous victim I can think of is Virginia. I think
Yeah,
she has been
Virginia
talking
Gifford.
about this like for years, for
Mhm.
decades,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
and now yeah,
yeah, no, I listen, the image we have of the predator, right? It is
the
from
one
movie.
that's lurking in the shadows, the
Right.
one where you never see it coming, but that the
Or
statistics prove, yeah,
he had an affair and he covered it up, and then there's somebody digging in and putting all these threads to get no, all
yeah,
this stuff is out in the open, and
yeah,
it's they do it with impunity because
yeah,
nobody does anything. I mean, I'm
yeah.
serious, like, in aviation, we knew the guys who were the stalkers and,
And we
like,
tolerate them. We don't say anything because it's like taboo to point it out. It's like, well, who are you to point this out? Who are you to say what this guy has been doing? Like, you have no
I
right to do this.
I got called in on a woman colleague who was actually my direct report. She was technically my boss, right? She was the
Right.
team lead for me, and she had a guy harassing her,
Mm.
and was a known harasser. Like I had multiple women employees come up to me and complain about the guy. He was my colleague, right?
Mm.
And there was an incident that happened that I was a witness to, and I said to my, my, my boss, it was like, or it was like, hey, will you come in and speak about this? I was like, yeah. And I went a step further, and I got reports from employees, from female employees, this guy had harassed. Had it
Mm.
all lined up, right? Because I was raised by two federal bureaucrats. I knew how this system worked. I'm like, all right, let me get all this lined up and together and blah blah blah. Go in, give my thing to HR.
You haven't heard
What?
anything from us, right? Is that
No, no.
what
You
you're
know what?
telling
Know
me?
what the ruling was?
What?
They said, well, it's rumored that you're having an affair with another colleague, and so I mean, they question her integrity because there were rumors she was sleeping around on her husband, because that's the kind of thing that just gets floating around about women who
That
were in charge.
balances out her being,
Well, you got to
sleeping
question.
around, balances
You got
out
to
him attacking and like
Well,
harassing
you
him.
got to
That's
question her integrity if she's cheating on her husband, and there's these rumors about her. You know, and so what happened was she ended up eventually quitting and going to work for another airline. And
and,
then
and when you think of like these accusations, women don't make this lightheartedly. Like
no,
only 5 to 33% of actual rapes are ever reported to the police. So
mhm,
the majority of survivors are never in the official statistics to begin with. And then these false allegations, things that I keep hearing, only 2% to 10% of reported cases, mind you, only 5 to 33% of them are actually being out and actually being reported. Only 2% or 10% of them are actually fake. Fake.
yeah, I mean,
There's
even
a huge gap, and our
mhm,
immediate instinct is to not trust the woman because that's the patriarchy talking.
because and again, that's why I wrote that piece of why on Sunday why I believe women
Yeah.
when all this drop is because I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it with women who are because again, I've worked in a very heavily male dominated industry, but it had a sizable portion of women.
Yeah.
And I saw how they were treated. I saw how they would react to me before they knew me.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like they had their armor up and claws out because it's like, and I don't blame them because of it's just because of, and again, I mean, I've seen the kind of I I had a department head get fired at another job because he hired a staff of all women and then promptly started sending sexually explicit text messages to all of them.
Oh my god. I was just about to say, wow, he hired all women. That's rare.
He hired all women to work underneath him, and then, he started sending sexually explicit flirty text messages to him to see which one would bite. And how he got outed was one that he actually was dating, found out he was doing it with sending it to the other women
Mm.
and sent them all to HR, right?
What do you like? You've seen so much of men acting like this and nothing happens. What do you think men can do from like today or when if they're raising their son? How do you teach someone to go against the system when the system is ingrained into everything, culturally, like socially, everything?
You gotta stand on business and you gotta take a hit. I mean, it's the thing about it is, man, is you'd be surprised at what you can do when you stand up.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you think, "Oh, I'm gonna lose this or I'm gonna lose that." Like, I was on, another live before this, and I talked about an incident. So when I was going out, I had different groups of friends when I was younger, and I was dating this gal, and we were at my buddy's house,
Yeah.
right? It was in this apartment complex, and it was one of those that had the two apartments, and shared common areas. So
Mhm.
we'd been out drinking. I wasn't too hammered, and I'm he had a sectional couch. I'm on the couch with my girl I'm dating, and she had a friend of hers, and she was exhausted and tired. and he's one of my buddies said, "Oh, well, you can." At the time, he was my buddy. He's like, "Oh, you can sleep with me in in my room." It's blah blah blah. She's like, "Okay, but I don't want to do anything." Right? It says, "Okay, yeah." It's like, "No problem." Right? We'll just sleep or blah blah blah. So about 2 or 3 a.m., but we'd been there about an hour. She comes out, and I had she'd ridden with me and the girl I was dating. I picked him up. And she's like, "Hey, I was like, I really want to get out of here. I need you to take me home." I said, "Everything okay?" She's like, "No, no." She's like, I want to go home." I said, "Okay."
Mm,
So
right.
I'm leaving at like 3 a.m., and on the way back, when I was taking her back, I found out what it was dude kept, pawing at her and trying to,
Yeah.
basically put his penis up against her and all that.
Yeah.
And, and she kept to where she's like, telling her friend, she's like, "I'm up against the wall trying to get from," and she's consoling her in the back seat, and I'm driving,
Yeah.
and she's apologetic to me, right? "Oh, I'm
So
sorry you had to drive." Yeah, because
she's
she's like,
apologizing
"I'm
to you?
sorry I had to drive you're having to drive me home late at night, and I'm sorry I'm such a
Oh,
bother," and I said, "No, if he's trying to pull something on you, that's fine," And then after that, he actually, before I could confront him, he confronted me and said, "Well, can you believe that crazy BS? But that bitch, blah 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 blah." And I said, "Well, she told me what happened, man. Will you believe her?" I said, "Brother, ain't no woman get up at 2 a.m., tears in her eyes, talk about take me home, unless you've done something underhanded."
yeah.
You know?
I mean, our first instinct is to think there's seriously something wrong with the woman who's speaking out. Like, that's
No, yeah,
like
she thought it was her fault. She
immediately
blamed herself.
and
You
that's
know?
internalized misogyny. Like, you think that you are the problem because everyone around you is pointing their fingers at you if you do anything that's against, the rules.
Well, I got into his bed, so, maybe he thought this, and you know, I should have stayed outside in the living room, and it's like, and and I mean, there was fallout from this. I didn't talk to that group. I mean, I didn't talk to him again and that group of friends. I met another group of friends, and,
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, well," you know, and I was accused of being like, "Oh, that she turned him against me and all this other stuff, blah, blah, blah." And I would tell her, I was like, "It's real simple. Did you tell him no?" "Yeah." I said, "Okay, that's
Mhm.
it."
Yeah.
But the
I
thing
mean,
was, if
yeah.
you let that slide and you say, "Well, that's just Dave being Dave," or "That's just, guys being guys," and, or, "Yeah, you should have, you should have just stayed out here," and, da da da. It's like, no, you told him and that was it. Or,
Yeah.
like, I went to, I saw what happened, had a female colleague say, "Hey, can you back me up?" Yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
and it does remind me of, like, the quote, "Not all men," because I do believe that it's not all men, but it is always, oh, sorry, but it's always a man that is going to be behind this. Like, um it's always gonna be a man who is obviously in the institution who is taking advantage of his power. But what do you think about that quote, "Not all men"? Because I hear it a lot, and I want to say that it's not all men because there are, like, good guys out there, and a lot of guys actually think they are good guys.
Yeah.
But what they are passive, um, they're passively in the patriarchy. They don't actively are vocal about it, but if their friends say something or the instance that you said, they're gonna be like, "Oh, whatever," like, like, "She probably did this," like, that's being passive. If you're complicit, then you're still defending the patriarchy. So what do you think about that quote, "Not all men"?
Well, my reaction to that is like, why does that what are you trying to defend there? I mean, like, because a woman is telling you about her experience, right?
Right.
You know, and it's just like, you know, men do this, okay? You know, and your knee-jerk reaction is to come in and say, "Well, not all men." Okay, well, you just skipped over the part of what she's dealing with. You've
Yeah,
just shown that you do not want to care about what she's going through.
exactly.
And you don't want to sit there first be empathetic and say, "Hey, I'll listen to you, like, what's happening." I'm sorry you went through that, and because
You
again,
just
I,
get all
I I don't
defensive.
care. I don't
Yeah,
care if it's not all men. I don't care. Let's talk about the bad ones.
exactly.
Why don't we talk about that? Because anytime they say not all men, you ever notice then what happens is these women have to sit there and defend basically semantics, and we never get to the conversation about what the problem is.
Yeah. It's a way to subtly change the topic back to centering themselves, centering men as the topic of the conversation. Let's not talk about your trauma. Let's just talk
No.
about me as a man and how I'm a good guy.
Right.
And I think, yeah, and like men hate women as a people. Like most men, they hate women who they are, like fundamentally. But
I think so.
women,
Yeah,
yeah,
I would
and
agree with that.
women hate men as a system, not as individuals. So when we say not all men, we're referring to that system that creates these kind of men in the first place. And that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
It's I mean, the thing about it is it's just this men don't wanna combat the patriarchy and the privilege that they feel is like in their inherent right,
Exactly.
with it.
Yeah.
And when they don't
It's
get that
taking
right.
away their privileges if you
Yeah.
say if you want to be against the patriarchy, then you have to take back the privileges that has been acquired to you, basically.
Well, just even the phrase, you hear a lot from men. It's like, "Oh, I just want a woman that's my peace." Okay?
Yeah.
And on the surface, that sounds innocuous, but it's really not. It's very
Yeah.
toxic, actually,
Yeah.
because what you're asking for is, right, like, I want someone who is a woman who's never gonna bring me drama, who's never gonna have an issue with my behavior, who's never gonna hold me accountable. I want her to just be my peace, i.e., not say anything that's bothering her. But what they and of course, they're never gonna be that. It's not like they expect their woman to pick them up and mother them and do all this
Yeah,
other stuff and
that's exactly it because
right?
like women are taught to do emotional unpaid labor to men because men aren't allowed to have feelings or to discuss any of their feelings other than to their mother or their romantic relationship or some partner or something like that. They can't talk to their friends. They're like, oh, I'm feeling down, and they're like, okay, so what? Are you gay or something for talking about your feelings? Like
Right.
that's and it's like it's everywhere in cultural and socially. So like obviously men lean so heavily on to women, not to hold them as accountable for it, but just to be their therapist for them, basically.
Well, the thing about masculinity and a lot of stuff that's misplaced nowadays is like the thing you hear about, like with gym culture, or you hear about all
Yeah,
this
Andrew Tate
macho,
and all that manosphere and all that stuff.
yeah, all this macho stuff is like,
Yeah.
well, men need to be able to do hard things. It's like, okay, but let's unpack that. It's like, so I do strength training. I'm in like the 4% mark or less of people in the world that when I was younger, I could bench dead and squat over 300 pounds. Now I'm
Oh
building
wow.
back to it. So I'm like
Yeah.
at 250.
Yeah.
What's the hardest thing I've ever had to do? Wasn't Marine Corps
Open
boot
up.
camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't lifting all that weight, which I love doing that. It wasn't any of it. It was being accountable to the people that I led and
Being
my
emotionally
family,
mature. Yeah.
right? Or taking accountability when I messed up,
Yeah.
or taking a principled stand when I had something to lose. When I had to take a stand and say, no, this guy harassed this chick. I saw it,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or, no, this guy said something racist. I saw it, you know, or when someone would come up to me and say, you know, because I had the beard and I had the white skin and I had the southern accent, and they thought,
Yeah, I
he's
wouldn't
one of
know.
us.
Yeah.
He's one of us. And he says, well, you know how they are. And you look at them dead in their eye and they, no, I don't know how they are. Tell me how they are.
Mm,
And they're like, well, blah, 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 and they suddenly get flustered. Now, the thing is, you asked me before, what I would tell young men is like, that's the hard stuff you're going to do. And you'd be amazed at what little change you could make. Because
yeah.
just think about this. If these bad men know that they can't act with impunity around you, they do it less, because when you're
Especially
around,
if it's
they're not going to do it.
especially if it's coming from a man, that really makes them pause because it's like a competition. right? Who
Yep.
is the better, more masculine man. So if you kind of like shift away from that narrative, it really makes men pause because men are, in my opinion, I think they're trained to be submissive and to be obedient. I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about the most masculine job, you probably see like a soldier, right? But you're literally
Mhm.
following orders from another man.
Yep.
So I think men who lean more into their feminine side, so called, or just being, emotionally intelligent, being accountable, as you said, they are the most manliest man I've ever seen because they're so strong. They're strong
Yeah.
because they deviate away from the narrative and everyone else saying that a man has to do push-ups and all this, and they just have to be submissive. Like literally, men are taught to be submissive. They are taught
They
to,
are.
yeah, they are
This whole alpha dominant stuff, where it's just like, and then you give like, your Andrew Tates and all these other people and your Joe Rogans
exactly.
and blah, 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 where you defer to them when they don't have an authority, where, just like, again, Andrew Tate, where you look at him, he'll say something. I'm like, that's BS. This guy's hustling. It's a con. And furthermore,
Exactly.
he's a horrible person. And they're, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but, and here's the thing. You don't even have to argue with him. You say, has any of his advice that you followed made your life better?
Actually worked for you. It just
You
made you
know,
like miserable.
has it made you better? And then they're like, well, it's women's fault. Okay, no, no, no. Has it made your life better?
Mm, yeah.
You know, well, it's women's fault. Don't you want to have a woman? Yeah. Okay. Well, then why aren't you doing what women want in their
It's
lives?
crazy. Like these that annotates these manosphere guys, like these incels, like they tell you how to get a woman, but they have no woman in their lives because in reality,
None.
no, not a single woman who respects herself would ever be involved or near or a proximity around that man. I mean, Andrew Tate has literally a record of beating women, of being a
Hmm.
rapist, and he's been convicted of it. And he's literally a human trafficker.
Hmm.
And well, for I keep thinking about how he's allowed to be on Substack, and he has like 1 million subscribers here, I think. And
Oh yeah, he got a million bots or accounts to follow him because if you look, I mean, I get more likes and restacks than he does, and it's like,
yeah,
gee, I don't have 1 million, but how is that? Oh, right, because it's all fake and BS, and that's the thing is
it
like
is BS. Yeah,
all these
but
guys,
yeah,
yeah, all these manosphere coaches and all this other stuff, and you notice it's like, I mean, the thing about it is if you were to ask me, is like, hey, what's the most important thing you can do as a young man? Um, to get into your masculinity. Emotional intelligence, beyond lifting
and
weights,
yeah,
any
and
of
it
that,
goes
physical.
both ways because you
Yep.
protect yourself as well. Like
Mhm.
you regulate your own feelings. You don't let another man. You don't like let a friend provoke you and lash out and rush out and all of those things. So
And
like
emotional
emotional.
intelligence doesn't mean that you don't feel anything.
Mm,
That's not what stoicism's about. That's not what
it's
any of
not.
this is about. It's I mean, Viktor Frankl in Man's Search for
Yeah,
Meaning said the highest emotional aspiration you can have is love. And he talked
exactly.
about that,
Yeah.
of feeling that towards his wife in the concentration camps, during World War II. And so, being vulnerable, caring, and being empathetic, that's what makes you a good leader. That's what makes you a good man, is because how can you protect something? How can you honestly fight tooth and nail and protect something you don't care about?
Hmm.
How can you be a protector if you hate the thing you're supposed to protect? How can you hate women and protect them? I really need to understand that.
Yeah.
You know, how can you protect women if when they're in trouble, you don't want to stand on business and actually support them and protect them?
Because it's not
When
about protecting women. It's about protecting their own image and how they look to other men. That's what it's all about.
because at any point, one of those men, those could have gone to Eric Swalwell and pulled him in the office and said, "Hey, buddy, if I ever hear you doing that to another woman on the hill, or I ever see
Exactly.
you, like, is like, I'm telling you right now, I'm going after you with both barrels, full
Well,
force."
do you think that now he's like he obviously he's not he resigned, right? Do you think that there's gonna be any sort of accountability? Will there be any investigations? Will he be held accountable at all?
I
Is
think
that a
there's a
possibility?
I think there's a better possibility now with the Epstein files and that coming out. I think now if we're because what we're starting to see is the ugly reality that women have known for far too long and men have
Mhm.
been able to ignore.
Yeah.
Because Jeffrey Epstein does not thrive in an environment that doesn't allow that, right?
Mm.
Because if we really cared about women and we really wanted to protect them and we really wanted to look after them, like all these manosphere and these people, they say they do. Well, we protect you from the bad men. It's like, but you don't.
You
You
don't.
don't. And so what we're
And
seeing now is,
if there weren't men like you, then there would be no one you'd be protecting. That's right.
yeah. And that's, I mean, it's you, you know, you, that's the problem is we have this cultural notion of like how we think we are and how we really are.
Versus, yeah.
And we're now seeing how we really are, and it's like, oh dear God, it's bad. And so we have a choice is like, do we want to keep going forward with this, or do we actually want
Mhm.
to start changing it? And
Holding, yeah. Changing
yeah,
the system that allows this to happen. What do you think, like, what is the general commentary or what is the news saying? How are they framing him? Are they framing him as, oh,
well,
you know,
corporate media is just kind of doing the he said, she said thing. They're pretty much useless. The fascinating thing that I've seen,
yeah,
because I came out and started slamming this as soon as it happened.
yeah,
And I see this a lot because, like, I rarely get pushback. I might get 1 or 2
right.
of people, whereas, like, I'll go and I've seen this, like, from women that will say basically the same thing I have, and their inboxes or comments will just be flooded with vitriol, but I don't get
Yeah,
it, right? And I'm like and I almost wanna put a side by side comparison and, like, you're proving their point because you
exactly.
won't bring that smoke to me, right? 'Cause I'm allowed to say whatever I want. I'm a white man, I can say whatever I want, and everyone just like, and I either get silence or, but if women say, "Well, how dare you," they gotta put them back in their place, right?
Exactly.
My place is at the top of the pyramid, there's nowhere to put me, right?
You have
You
enough
know?
privileges. No one is gonna come bite you. No one.
No, it's like because what at that point, you're having an argument with a peer, what they consider a peer, and they just say,
Yeah.
"Oh, Fred's just stupid, I'm not gonna bother." Like, they'll just ignore me like, "Oh, he's just another idiot, simp liberal, like, screw him." But if a woman speaks out, especially a woman of color, then it's like, "Oh, I gotta put that B word in her place." So that's why they
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
that I'm sure you've gotten that for something you've put out,
Oh, I put
and
out a
you'll be flooded with it,
post.
you know?
I got a comment, couple comments saying I got one comment today. It was really funny actually. Go back to your cats, you miserable one. Go back to your cats. And I'm like,
I have a cat, I love my cat, he's amazing,
I wish. It's crazy. Like, I mean, you don't get any backlash, but as soon as a woman goes out and says what she has to say, what everyone must say, it's like, oh, how dare she? Oh, I can't believe she said that. Oh my God. Don't no one believe her.
But
And yeah, and Mrs.
but
Press has been so incredibly amazing. She despite all the hate that she's getting,
yeah.
she still is staying true to her word and now we're getting not justice, but we're getting coverage. We're getting news at least.
The thing we have to change, especially with Believe Women stuff, is we don't laud heroes and whistleblowers. We love them in movies, right? Where it's like they expose the corruption and
Yeah.
all the soaring music and it ends and we're like, yeah, good job. Oh, wish we could live in that world. And then when it happens, like Colin Kaepernick or these women that are exposed like Froz or the Epstein survivors, which have been speaking out a long time, they get threats or killed or violence or because again we don't want to deal with the reality that we might have to do something and we might have to accept this horribleness,
Mhm.
and that's what we can do is start supporting those people that speak out and say,
Yeah,
You know,
it
I mean,
reminds me of yeah, it reminds me of how Pam Bondi said they can't arrest. Allegedly, I think she said that she can't arrest the people like in the Epstein files because then the whole system will collapse. Then,
then let it
then,
let it
then
collapse.
let it collapse. Just let it burn. It deserves to burn because of what horrible things that has happened in under your watch, under so many other administrations' watches. It continuously happens. So
The history of the world is about systems collapsing and then us
yeah,
building trying to build something better.
rebuilding.
It's like,
Yeah,
why are we so different? At one time, which has lasted much longer than capitalism and everything else, is like we had kings and monarchs and queens and, they were
and we
descended
topple
from.
and that top like we toppled them. Like they're gone now. So
Yep.
I think that stretch of imagination is like is becoming more and more rare every day.
And I mean,
We
I
aren't being yeah, like in
yeah, no.
environments where we're not even being allowed to creatively imagine or think beyond the system that we all are suffering in right now. And that
Well,
goes
and
both ways. Yeah.
it's funny, like, in the comments, Madam Power's been talking about gym culture, and, like, she mentioned her and her husband are kind of into it, and she's like, "Yeah, most people that are in it are dysfunctional as all get out." Yeah, they are, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 49 years old. I'm not on any kind of, like, testosterone supplements,
Yeah.
and, I thankfully, I don't really need them. I pretty much just take creatine, like, I'm still skeptical about peptides and everything else.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, like, it is I have friends that started doing anabolic steroids when they were 18, 17.
Oh my God, that reminds me of have you heard of Clavicular? Have you heard
Mhm.
of him?
Yeah, oh, yes, I
No?
have heard of. Yeah,
Yeah?
I've heard.
Okay, so he did
Yeah.
he did a 60 minutes like interview or something. He had that today, and then the interview called him an incel, and he literally walked out of the interview. And he's 21 and he looks 30. He has
No,
been
yeah, I mean, I've had friends that they started when they were 17, they're in their early 30s now, they have liver problems, kidney problems, heart problems, all these
mm,
things, and they look to be in much better shape than me, right? And, because like, I'm coming back to it, it's like, I don't have any of these issues, you know? I don't have liver problems or heart problems or organ
yeah,
failures or any of that stuff
yeah.
just because but that's what like, and
It's
I
it's
remember
it's
that's the
it's like a
culture.
mixture, yeah, it's a mixture of capitalism and the patriarchy. They're both like using each other basically. Like obviously in capitalism you need to inject yourself with all of these things to appeal, to look like
Yeah.
a commodity that someone would want. And you have the
That women
patriarchy,
don't
which is
even want. You're
that's
trying to
the funniest thing.
you're
Like
trying
no
to
one
look better
actually
for
is
other men.
attracted to this. Exactly.
You're
Like
trying to
I've
posture for other
have you
dudes.
heard of this post where I think it's by Liz? I mean, I'm not sure, but there's this post that's saying like the manosphere is just closeted gay men.
Pretty
Just
much.
closeted gay men. Like they really are obsessed with getting each other's approval
But
and validation.
this is the insidiousness of the patriarchy, right? Is
Yeah.
that you're in constant competition with other men
Mm.
and everything that about you is like Donald Trump he is really the epitome alpha male, right? When you think about it.
Yeah.
No, he is and here's
Yeah.
why, is everything about him is fake. Everything about him is surface deep. It is
Mm.
and he's he's just a posturing, bloviating idiot.
Yeah.
And that's why these guys build him up is because that's what they think masculinity is. It's how much money you have. It's how much because that's how you can quote measure success. My body count is this many, or like Dan Bilzerian, where it's like, you've got all these beautiful women around you, and you're like, oh, look how awesome he is. His personality is a wet blanket, and all those women are being paid to be there, right?
That's the funny thing.
None of it is
They're all be
internal. None of it
no
is
one is
internal.
will no one is willingly going to hang out with them or being in their presence without some kind of accommodation, like or some kind of
I
money.
I, I never regret. I do not look back on any moment, even if it costs me, where I stood up on principle and I defended somebody else, or what I knew was right. What I do regret are
Is
moments,
staying complicit, being
yeah,
quiet,
when I stayed
speaking up
quiet.
when you had to. Yeah,
Yeah,
those
when
are
I
the things
stayed
that we
quiet,
regret.
when I ignored it because I was either too tired or I was too scared, or I was like, and I've had those moments. I've had those moments where I was like, oh man, I'm just not going to deal with that. I
Mm,
think, oh man, that's just too much. It's like, oh well, no, I'm just going to let that slide. Because and we all have those moments. We all have those moments, but those are the ones where it'll hit me. I'm like, damn man, I wonder if I could have made a difference in that moment. I wonder if I'd have said something, or if I could have,
mm,
if I could have been less mean, or if I could have been more kind, would that have made a difference? If I could have been more understanding, or if I could have been this or that, would that have made a difference? And those are the things that haunt me. And, it's like, those are the things that I carry with me, And
yeah,
so the thing about it is like, with these young men, it's like, man, these guys
are
are taking,
so gone. They're
yeah,
they're like you can't even get them back to reality. They're so
yeah.
off into this internet bubble. They don't even realize they're not even conscious about their actions because
It's like, well,
they're
dude,
in that environment.
how do you get women? It's like, okay, well, what do you want? Like, do you, and it's funny when you drill down into them, it's just like, I just want to, I just want to have sex with a lot of women. It's like, okay. It's like, is that what you really want though? Do you want to just have the same conversation starting out over and over, and you want to use these women for this and that? It's like, but then when you get down to a lot of them, it's like, well, no, I just, actually, it's like, if they're honest, well, I just want to be in a loving relationship. It's like, okay, well, that's a whole different thing.
That is a whole different thing. Yeah,
That's not
it is.
pickup lines. That's not your car. That's not money flash. That's not, having washboard abs. What
Yeah.
that is
It
emotional
is. I
intelligence.
feel like
And
it's a sign of late stage capitalism because we've gone to the point where everything is expensive, everything's unaffordable. So the only thing we have for value is our bodies. It is a commodity. It's something to be exchanged with. It is something, and that's why we have so many transactional relationships with everyone, and especially that's the patriarchy talking as well because you need to devalue women so much that you only see them as a transaction. Like you just see them as a point to gain to win this game. But what even is the game? So that is a sign of late stage capitalism because like we have nothing to bring to the table anymore. We just have our bodies, and
yeah,
that's
no,
why
I mean,
relationships
no,
are going.
dude,
Yeah,
that's profound. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, yeah, and again, I think a lot of it is reaction, like with the lifting culture. Like, because one of the reasons that inmates really work out hard, besides, being able to better protect yourself, and it's
yeah,
the it's the only control that you have in that environment is
yeah.
control over your own body. And if you can build it more powerfully, that's exerting some control over an environment you have no control over. And to your point, in late stage capitalism, where they've taken so much from us, they've taken affordability, they've taken family time, they've
They've
taken
taken everything we
stability,
need to
security.
live and they paywalled it. So the only thing we have left to
Right.
survive, basically, sometimes, is to sell our
Is this
bodies.
hyper idealized version of femininity and masculinity. So now you get women with, before, when I was coming up, it was, boot jobs. Now it's the BBLs, and which are even more dangerous. And it's
They
all this
kill
plastic.
people. They literally
Yeah.
kill.
Yeah. All this plastic surgery, or all these filters, or all this, this image they put out on Instagram with,
Yeah, and I
you know,
and I hate it when people say that's feminism, like that's choice feminism or something like that, because it's not. Feminism is not having money and paying for it for a surgery to physically alter your looks to appeal to men, to appeal to the male gaze. Because no matter how much it is self care or something, to the end of this day, you are still, maybe you're not consciously aware, but you're still doing it to get the approval of the men around you. So I don't subscribe to that kind of version of feminism. I do not think that physically like damaging your body, basically injecting plastic on your skin is not the most radical act you can do as a woman. It isn't.
it's a, there's a date, it's dated now because she wrote it years ago. I read it. but it talks about similar ideas that are still
Yeah.
relevant. It's called Female Chauvinist Pigs by Ariel Levy.
Mm.
It's a really good book. It talks about that. This was back when they used to, this way before your times, like when they had the Girls Gone Wild videos and all that stuff. And she wrote an article about it. It was like there were these women on spring break and they were PhD, like getting their PhD in anthropology,
All right.
and they were all excited to go on Girls Gone Wild, right?
Mm.
And she was trying to understand this, like, why are these women wanting to go for a guy that's obviously a scumbag who turned out to be a scumbag? And, like, because they didn't pay these women, and this guy's
Oh, they
selling
they went
it.
willingly.
Oh, yeah, no, it was like because again, it's like because it was risque and it was taboo and they felt sexy and, it felt empowering, but it really they
I see.
turned that empowerment into exploitation, right? Because look, I mean, I've got friends that are sex workers and, like, when women have control over when and how they make their living, that's empowerment, even if
That's
it's
actual empowerment.
well, yeah, even if it's in a capitalistic system that basically we have to exploit our bodies. Like, again, like,
To get
'cause
food on the table. Yeah.
well, yeah, because like, and it was funny because I remember there was a comment that came out. It was in a veterans group, and it was really rather enlightening. It was a former military woman who had an OnlyFans, and she was making a bunch of money. And this
Mm.
veteran group moderator put it out thinking he'd slam her for being a sleut, and how dare she and blah, blah, blah. And the comments were surprising for the military guys. They're like, man, it's better than my busted knees that I got from the infantry. It's like, it's like, yeah, I busted my back and blah, blah. It's like we're all freaking, we're all killing our bodies for the higher ups. And there was a lot of understanding for that. And it's like, yeah, I've got all kinds of injuries from the Marine Corps. I've got injuries from aviation where I've
Mhm.
broke like I've got joint pain and I can't turn my neck so far, and I got knee pain, I got this and I got that. And, you know, it's like and the response is like, "Well, you signed a contract to be a Marine." I'm like, "I did, didn't I?"
No, because that's like you have to obey every single order from a guy who's higher up above you, above your
And
pay,
when you're
all those
busted,
stuff.
they toss you out. Like, it's like, "You're not good
Exactly.
anymore." And
You're
so the thing
disposable
is yeah,
the
and
second you
so,
stop obeying.
it's like, do I wish that there was a world where women didn't have to do that? Absolutely. you know but if there is going to be in this world, I want women to have agency and control over when and how they do what they do.
Yeah.
And it's like, and so the thing is but back to your point, why are they getting these surgeries is because we have this false notion of, oh, here's what a man's supposed to be, right?
Mhm.
Here's
But
what a
who's
woman's
feeding
supposed to
that
be.
image? Like, where is that coming from?
The
We need to take a
patriarchy.
step back. Exactly.
It's coming
Exactly.
from the patriarchy because it's like women are supposed to be compliant. And because again, here's the funny
Like
thing.
if women are biologically submissive, they would have fucking submitted by now. We would not have been doing this. Like we would have submitted, we would be obedient, but we're not. We've never
But
been. If you look at
here's
history.
here's the funniest thing that's kind of happened. And again, every kind of thing that you see, there's always like positives and negatives, right?
Yeah.
Is what's happened with the prevalence of gym culture. You got a lot of women that want that strong look, right? They want the strong arms. They want you know, and they don't care what men think about it. And a lot of men are attracted to that look,
Yeah.
right? A lot of women are like, man, she looks strong as hell. I like that. And so what's happening is this beauty standard of skinny and wayfish because, and I won't go through it.
I still think it's here, but it is definitely changing. Like
Oh, in America, it's changing, you
every
know.
single second, every single day, there's a new trend, there's a new look that pops off. Like, but I just feel like no matter what the trend is, no matter how our bodies look like, it is still being controlled. It is still
Yeah.
being picked
Mhm.
out and cataloged and advertised to us. And so I don't really think it's, I mean, obviously it's amazing that we don't have to be thin and skinny because then we wouldn't be able to fight back. But it's still, we're still like, kind of like adjusting our bodies and adjusting how we think of ourselves back to the male gaze. We adjust, like we forever have to adjust ourselves, like right from the beginning
Yep.
of birth and until we die. We have to adjust our bodies, make sure every single man around us is feels amazing. Like you look amazing, so then we feel amazing. Yeah.
Yep. No, yeah, and again, why is this happening besides oppression is like, how much money does the beauty care industry make? How
If
much
all
money?
what I've heard of this somewhere, but if all women started to not be insecure, like just started loving themselves, like the economy would start collapsing.
Oh,
Companies
yeah,
would shut
beauty
down.
oh, man, the beauty care industry? Ooh, my goodness. Like,
They
you
would be
wanna talk
gone.
that's billions of dollars gone.
That's trillions, maybe. Like that's a lot. You're
Yeah.
talking about half of the population being insecure and buying all of these things to adjust every single curvicle and inch of their body. Yeah.
Yep. I'm telling you know? But, yeah, no, this is a good talk, I
Yeah, it was
appreciate it.
great. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
should
gotta
do
do it
this
again
again.
sometime.
But
Yeah.
hopefully on my page because I'm trying to figure out this live thing and it's quite frustrating to be honest with you. Substack is not my fan. I don't know what it's doing.
This yeah.
And it
No
won't even it won't even let me do paid subscribers and it's so frustrating. I don't even know why. Like it's just every day there's a problem. I don't know. Substack is clearly against some people.
right.
Yeah.
No, but it's good chat, you know?
Yeah, it was good.
Thank
Yeah.
and thank you for everybody showing up. It's
Thank you.
been a good conversation, so take
All right.
care.
You too.
Alright, bye-bye.
See you. Bye bye.